Hey everybody, it's Edwin from the Wonderdraft Academy, and today I'm going to make a video about how to make a top-down campsite or fortress. If you now think like I use Wonderdraft but I don't want to know how to make a fortress because I won't need it, then consider subscribing to my channel because I will make a lot of other videos as well about all different kinds of topics. And you can also check the links in the description of this video for other resources of the Wonderdraft Academy. So, to the topic of the fort. This is a map I made some time ago. It's part of my own world, the Tales of Asnia, and I'm planning to use this for a mystery puzzle game adventure. And in this game, you start in the southeast of this small continent and you will explore the different areas of it. And this time I am going to make a map of Fort Jamel. The things that I get from this continent map is that there's a river on the west side, there's a road coming in from the southwest to the northeast, and the area is it's not so green. It's a bit rocky or whatever it is coming from these volcanoes here. But I am tempted to make the detail map, a little bit greener than it should be according to the continent map, because I just like greener maps. And I can also imagine that if you would build a fort somewhere, you would pick the nicest spot of the area. So we're going for this one. I already started the base in Wonderdraft. And before you think like, why don't you make it with a different program? Is Wonderdraft suitable for those top-down kind of maps? I think it is. There's also Dungeon Draft that you can use for it. I am personally not a huge fan of the output of Dungeon Draft, just because of the assets used in it. And for my Wonderdraft top-down maps, I often use Mike Schley's assets, which you can get on ProFantasy.com. And for this one, I also plan on using Viking buildings, which is from Silvia Crow, if I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, I will put it down in the description. So that's the basic plan. A river on the western side, a road coming in from the southwest going to the northeast. I didn't really make a plan, by the way. So I'm just going how I always make my maps, like starting at a random point and see where it ends. I first gonna change the ground color a bit into a bit nicer color of green. I have some of those colors preset already. I don't use tons of different colors, and this is probably everything I'm gonna use, or well, not even half of it, but some green colors are always nice to use. Here you can see the color code if you're interested. Can use a little bit of extra. Now let's start with this. We can always change things again later on. Then I need that river, which I'm, of course, for this top-down small detail map, not going to use the river tool because it would be way too, even the widest is just like, that's not the kind of river I'm looking for in a detail map. So the river is going to be just erasing land. And let's go back to the continent map. It was a little like this, I think. Like that. And I don't mind it being a little bit wider. Let's see if that makes sense. I think it does, or is it still, yeah, maybe it's still too small. Because I don't intend to make it a huge camp, just some basic buildings, lodgings for the people staying there, some stables, a blacksmith or workshop, something like that. This is the river, and then the road is within like like there. Later. And then I'm going for these Viking buildings because they are in the custom color, so you can change the color here. And I want them to be made of wood, so they're gonna be a little brownish, like that. And then, oh, this is the wrong one. A third, like that. Let's see how that looks on the map. A little bit smaller. Yeah, I think it can be even a bit more orange side of brown. And that looks better. And this size I think is also good, but let's not start with random. Here you can see which types of buildings this is sort of stable. I'm gonna put some horses in that later on. You can place and then mirror one, put it like that next to each other. And then it's quite a big stable actually. Or my buildings are this small, that's also possible. And we're gonna put these on the side, like two next to each other. And I want one bigger building in the center as a kind of headquarters. This one can be like that. And then maybe connect it with another one. I think that might work for a headquarters. And what else do we have? Like they need to be close to the river for fresh water. Maybe like this. Two of these. I don't want it also to be too like organized and well structured, so maybe I should just mess it up a bit. You don't need too bureaucratic about it. Whereas this is a more square building. It's quite big actually. And let's turn it around. Put it here. You can see some kind of a road going that way. And to make it even look more like that road, I'm going to put that one over there. Okay. And then on this side, it's also not going to be in a straight line. I'm going to mirror it like that. And then here is the corner of the camp or the fort. The stable master can live there. And this, still not this one. And maybe this one can also go a little like that. Let's make it a bit chaotic. Well, it's a camp, a fort, so we of course need a palisade around it. And then I get to Mike Schley's assets. They have some palisades around here. It's only one size, so you have to be careful on how to plan it. Is this maybe? I'm not sure if this is going to be big enough. Plus, I'm now thinking that this asset pack only have gates with like stone things, and I wanted to make it out of wood. So I'm going to check Schley Meadows, a different pack, and see what is in this. There should be some fences like here. Oh yeah, that might be better. It's more like a fence than a palisade, I think. At least there's also a fence gate which I can use. So I'm gate here. Yeah, the building here can be right at the fence. And this is the same as this, just longer, and this is even longer. Oh, that's too long. So let's go for this one. And then the smaller one. Put the fence posts on top of each other. You won't really see where they are connected. And then like that. And then if I do it like this, otherwise it gets a bit too big. Just following the buildings I just placed, and then how shall I do it with this one? Is it within the fence, or do I put the fence that it sticks out of it? I mean, it's not like a super well defended castle or something, just a wooden palisade. So I can also make it like this, making the building part of the outer defense line. But I can always change it later on. And then I think that should also be going the other way. And then we continue the fence at that building as well. And this can all go a little bit lower. And I think these should swap sides. I'm still going for the more organized thing than I initially intended, but well. And then I think this might be a neat exit point. I need another fence there. Gate, I mean. Like that. Oh, a bit higher. And did I now? Yeah. All those things are on the outside. So this one is upside down. I'm gonna rotate it. Just for the record, rotating is with your mouse scroller while holding the spacebar. And if you hold the control key, you just zoom in, and if you don't hold anything, you make it bigger and smaller. And now I don't remember how big it's supposed to be. I think at the full scale, so 100. It's the biggest. And just for the record, if you want to make something bigger than 1, you can here override it and make it even bigger. And it upscales it, and it's probably not good for your resolution, so you can do it a little bit, but I wouldn't override it too much. We're gonna fill in here the last bit, connecting it to the gate like that, and going on to the other side. What is this one? Oh, it's a broken gate. Okay. Yeah, a lot of pulls there, and this one here. I need a small, and the bigger one again. And we're almost around it. One more. And that almost matches, but I find it good enough because I'm gonna think can all go a little bit higher to put it in the center of the map. Some lookout towers might be nice. And those are, I think, Are they in this pack or not? I'm afraid they are not, so I'm gonna turn on the... I have to think which pack it is. Is it the primitive village pack? I think I also have too many things active. Gonna try if it is this one that I'm looking for. So when you turn on a new asset, you always have to save your map, exit, and restart the program, which takes a while, unfortunately. And it takes longer the bigger your map and the more assets you have active. I'm making this map on a canvas of A3, by the way, so 3.5K by 4.9K in resolution. And I don't intend to print it out, well, at least not for now. So I don't need it bigger, and the assets I'm placing at the moment was mostly at 50%, so it's still possible to upscale it without noticing any loss in quality. Look, yes, I was saying the right thing. A3. Now let's see if I have that pack active that I wanted, which is not this one. This one I meant. And the custom colors, please, which is now also in the wooden kind of color, and they serve as my guard towers. I'm placing them on the corners here, and one here, and this one. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, it should be next to the gate, right? Let's do it still, but then I have to change the buildings again. And here, a bit further away from the gate, but still near the gate. And of course, I should have done the palisade in a lower layer. By selecting, you can put them in a lower layer, and then the ones I want to be above that, I'll put back to default. And they all go lower. And it takes a while, and that's the punishment for me not doing that from the start. And then here, I try to select multiple, but then it doesn't really work. Here then maybe. I got two. Okay. Should there be another tower here and next to the river maybe? Or is that an overkill on towers? They're not sophisticated towers, it's just like a simple tower with one guard standing in there. And one more here. Rearrange the building a little bit. This one can be, if we make it a little bit smaller, then nicely here. This almost goes against the palisade. This one can go there, and this one up here. These go together, and this is fine like this. And the stables, of course, will they fit, or they need to be a little bit smaller as well? Oh, that's not smaller. It's 25. They don't have that many horses here. Okay, that's then the basic shape of the fort or the camp. Next step, before, oh yeah, I will forget this detail, so I'm gonna do it first. I'm gonna put some horses in the stables. And it looks more like a cow, or is it? No, okay, this, yeah, that's the cow that do that. 4 horses. It's only for the important people in the camp. Let's put it like that, and can be a little bit bigger, I think. Okay. Okay, what's next? Shall we look at the surroundings? If we look at the continent map, it's a pity that there's not a lot of forest around here, because I don't like the empty surroundings. I always like it when a map has some sort of natural frame. Of course, you can put the frame here of Wonderdraft, but I like it when it's like there's a boundary of your map. So I'm still gonna put some trees in there. It's just not big enough to be a forest that made it on the continent map, but doesn't mean that we can't have any trees. And let's see how big a tree is compared to a building. For a big tree, I think this is fine. And this is also quite random how I place everything. I like these sleigh packs that you also have some pre-made combinations of bigger and smaller trees, but it's a little hint which I sometimes forget myself as well. If you first place all the big trees, just wherever at the edges of the map, one overlooking the river. Which didn't I use that? It doesn't really matter, of course, but still. And there are some bigger ones here as well. Guard towers, because then it makes sense to have a guard tower in the first place. And on the other side of the river, there is also something. And one more here. Because if you first place the bigger trees, you can select them and put them in a very high layer, so that all the smaller trees that you're gonna place later automatically go below the big ones. Because otherwise, Wonderdraft doesn't really know which one to put highest. Because if I now do the smaller ones like this, then they're automatically underneath, which I like. It's gonna be still quite a lot of trees now. Have to be careful to not overdo it. Along the water, I mean, it makes sense that there is vegetation along the water side. So let's give them some. They're really small. This is already not really trees anymore, but more like bushes. So that's perfectly fine to have here. The guard towers will look over it. And here's some along the water side. And even smaller ones go here. And then some at random around here at the corner of the map. And here the same thing, like a bit random, but not so much that you would consider it a forest. You can just walk wherever you want. Some more here, and on the other side as well. Similar. I'm gonna hide some in the tree, and there as well. You can do the same assets in different parts of the map, as long as you don't put them next. Like if you would do it like this, then it's a bit too obvious that you're using the same assets over and over. You can rotate them and it's already less obvious, but you can also just place them in different parts of the map and here continue with a different one. That's too big, I think. Let's do that. And here. And a few more around here. And then I'm already quite okay with that. And the road, once I get to the road, I will put some small bushes along the roadside as well. Just to mark the side of the road, not only with color, but also with some vegetation. I think that is working. Okay, and there's bushes here and then they need to be lower. I don't know why I did that. It's only costing me more work and nobody will ever notice it. So I'm doing it on less. And there, and then I have to put them in a lower layer. The palisade was -1, so it has to be -2 at least. It's starting to look like something, and I'm gonna save it. I always have 2 files, the normal file and a backup file, because sometimes Wonderdraft just crashes, and I don't like that. And I know there's an auto backup, but I still want to have my own 2 saves as well. And then this one has to move a bit because it's blocking the O of the name. So what else do we have in a camp? Let's see what kind of assets Silvia Crow has here. I'm not 100% sure if they match the trees. Like the campfires, I think I'm going for the Mike Schley campfires. If I know where to find them. Not this one, then it's maybe in the dungeons. Oh, no, that's not a campfire. That's more the real shit. When it comes to fires, here's a campfire, and it's quite big. So at different points, let's say we have a few campfires around there. What else can we put? Oh, this is more, yeah, the brazier, so it's not really a campfire. Let's not put any blood and skeletons in here, but they would have, of course, some beer standing around. Shall we make like the central hall? But this we can make the storage. And then I'm gonna put this in a layer lower, or let's do -2. And then we're gonna put some smaller ones on top of it, and maybe still some on the side. They need a lot of beer in this place. And we also want some crates, because it's not only beer that they drink, they also need food and other supplies. Oh, there is a lot of water. I could have done some of those as well. Well, it doesn't harm to have some different things. Like here, oh, that's a big one. And some smaller ones. And it's not all neatly stacked, because it's not meant to be the best organized camp in the world. Also on this side, that's the same. Some crates here. big supply depot here. That one on top, and as you can see, if you don't put them in different layers, it doesn't look good. So these are going to the -1. What do they need? They need some firewood, and we have firewood. Lucky us. A bit close to the campfires, so you don't have to walk too far. I don't feel like putting any chimneys in here. No, let's put it here. This one, the entrance is not on this side. Maybe also one here. And then we have some carts close to the stables. It makes sense to have a cart there. And in the normal Slave Cities pack, there's also these wagon. They are a bit smaller. The different scale those packs, so you have to adjust a bit. But as long as it looks a bit similar in style, then I'm fine with it. And I'm gonna put one here. And what is this? This is a smaller one, which can be right here, and there's also one here. Okay, the next step. What else do we have in those packs? There's a lot of interior things. Here is some food for the horses. And they might like some water as well. And there's some kind of a bathtub, I think, here. Which, if you make it small enough, nobody will know it's a bathtub or a pool. Oh, they're not really small. I'm gonna put it next to the other one, which I have to move a little bit. Food for the horses. Yeah, that. I mentioned a blacksmith in the beginning. I'm only not really sure how to do that. In the cities pack, there are like ready-made blacksmiths, but that one has like stone roof and walls, and it looks a bit different, so it won't really match with the style of this one. What the meadow spec, I don't know so well, so let's see what is in here. How about a chopping block? Somebody has to chop the wood before you can burn it. So someone doing that. Let's say that it's something that happens over here. And a small stack of wood here as well. I need a lot of wood. It's close to a volcano, but still. Some variation in the campfire, because now also my smoke is going in all different directions, which doesn't really make sense. So let's vary a little bit in it. And then also this one becomes this one. Nothing, any tents in here. And what do we have? What is this for cooking? Of course they need cooking gear. How else are they gonna eat? Next to the fire kind of makes sense. So let's put some around there. Sacks and hammocks, that goes a bit too far. There are different horses. Makes sense to use ones that are not settled yet. I wanted some variety, so I thought I had no choice, but apparently I have. So I'm gonna do a white horse here and this one there. Okay. But nothing for a blacksmith. And maybe I should give up on the idea that there will be a blacksmith in the fort. Maybe the people from the fort just get their tools and equipment somewhere else. Well, yeah, I would say being this close to a river, you wouldn't build a well. And when I look at the continent map, it is... it's not really the enemy that lays siege on your fort more to stop raiders. So it's more that from here they just go out and check if everything is safe and to stop raiders from raiding. But it's not like the kind of fort that would be besieged. So I'm not gonna put a well inside the palisade. Also, it wouldn't hold out long in a siege anyway. These are a lot of things for inside. Let's maybe just place some more, because of course they need supplies not only for themselves but also for the surrounding. Fort always has a lot of supplies, I can imagine. We put them just all around to also fill it up a bit. Otherwise everything looks so empty. And this one goes on top, and we have to change the layer again. Behind here, we have behind here. It can maybe be some kind of a garbage dump, or something just broke down. The garbage dump idea, I like that. I mean, you have to. Yeah, they wouldn't do that within the palisade, I think. Now let's just say that something broke here, and they didn't clean it up. And I think for the most part I'm at the moment satisfied with it. And if later when I actually make the game and I need some other things, I can always add it still. So no need to worry about that. So let's keep it like this for now, and then we can color the ground a bit. I'm gonna save again on the different file. I'll just rotate the files to always make sure that it's another one that I can get back to. I'm gonna start with the road, which is gonna be for the ground, and I'm gonna do it in a very light color. I think this one, which is there's the color code for if you would like it. And let's see how not that's too bright, so I'm gonna a bit lower opacity, and then like that. And I'm now thinking on the continent map I said the southwest, but then let's pretend that after that it goes like there. And on this side do the same, and then go to the northeast, but again indicate it going northeast, but doesn't have to go too much like that on the map already. And then I'm gonna do let's do heavy, mark sides, and to make it clear that it's a well-traveled road and not just some new thing that nobody uses. And then I'm gonna increase the brush size and put opacity at the lowest to just make it a bit darker. And then, of course, there's also roads inside the camp. And the main one runs, I don't know if there's a main one. I think it's all kind of walked on. So now it looks as if this is some sort of a road, but I will color it so much that almost everything in the camp is road or path or whatever you call it. Goes like there. And then here to the chopping block. Up here, this side to the stables and back. And of course this main headquarter building is surrounded like that. And then a little smaller and less opacity, I'm gonna just make sure that people don't only walk on the road. So it's the whole camp is a bit used. The stable master has to get out somehow. And around the gate to the guard towers, everything needs some sign that it's been walked on. And of course people take shortcuts. They need to get to the beer barrels. And if you have horses there, then the grass doesn't stay so nicely green probably. So I'm going to use this brush to make that a bit more dirty. I just mix different colors and not with any clear intention, but just until I think, okay, now it looks like something. And darkening here as well, and I can do that with a bigger brush because I don't mind that the grass also gets a bit dirty and dark. And of course somebody has to reach the campfire and the cooking pots and pans and the cart and everything else. So this is the base dirt here, a lot of dirt, because it's something that nobody paid any attention to. And then with this brush I can do some more at some specific spots, like here. Okay, I think that's enough for now. I still think that it looks too much like a road network, which I don't really like. I can't imagine everybody just sticking to the path, so I'm gonna make the whole thing a little bit in this light sandy color, so that there's not much green left and everything is just path or dirt. You can still see there's some grass growing at some places, but not a lot. Like that. And then even more dirt here and there. Okay. So now the camp looks dirty, and that's good. I like that, dirty camps. Let's do something about shading. We save it again. For shading, let's first do the trees because it's the easier part. I use a dark green. Let's see how this one goes. That yeah, I think that's okay. And I basically just go, or is it too light? Can be maybe this one. I think that's better. And I just do that around all the trees and bushes and everything. And I will do it on the right side and the top side mostly, pretending that the sun is coming from the bottom left. And it's not just shading, it's also to bring some variety to the map so that it's not all like so monotonous, I think. I like it that it just has a bit of different colors and things going on. And when you make a city map with the same assets in the same way, the shading is actually the thing that takes the most time, because now there are not so many buildings or trees, but if you have a big city, then it takes you a lot of time to do this. But I still like the effect that it has. And it's going all around everything, like that. Even small ones. I think you can easily do too much about this, that you really think like, okay, the big trees need bigger shadows and stuff like that. But I think that gets in the category of nobody will ever notice. So I just do it like this. And as you can hear, I just click a lot. I don't hold my mouse while I do this, because then you easily get it like too thick and too how you say it, accentuated, that it doesn't blend smoothly with the rest. I just click a lot to be in control of how much coloring there is going on. And here, the last ones. The ones over here. And this is such a big tree that maybe a little bottom as well. And that was it. To me, at least, this gives a nice effect of having a more realistic look, more natural look of things, I think. And the river, I want to play a bit with the edges as well. Green, like the river bed being a bit sandy or muddy or whatever you think this color might be. Also a bit to show like there's things going on. And I can also imagine that not everybody follows the path in a nice way. And now we're gonna add some shadow around the buildings. Let's see if this is too gray for my taste. I want it to be, I don't know what I want it to be. Dark, I'm gonna pick a new color. Is it gonna be brown or very dark green? Let's see how this turns out. I think that works. Of course, buildings don't necessarily have a different shadow than trees, but on my map they have, just for whatever reason. On the right side and on the top side, so this is a bit harder because your brush is circular and the buildings are not. Here I'm brush small, so that only on the right side of the palisade there's this shadow. And here the shadow is really small because it's a bit on the bottom as well. And here it can start showing up on the top side, because top and right I gave shadows with the sun coming from the southwest. And that's the top. And then here as well, all along the edge and the tower. Yeah, a path doesn't really have a shadow, of course. Well, doesn't really matter. And then here I can just hold the mouse button because you won't see much of it anyway. And the same here. And then here on both sides. And we're almost around. And that's not supposed to be on the bottom there. Make it smaller again. And I can include these small bushes to have some sort of shadow as well. And this one, oh. And I'm around. There's some depth to the whole thing. It makes it a little bit more three-dimensional. Gonna just tweak a little bit. There's some spots they go a bit wider, and you can always undo it with your original color. Oh. And this one here. And inside the palisade also needs to have a little bit of shading. Again, the right side and the top side of all the buildings. And even something like a cart might have some sort of shadow, or if you consider it more mud, I don't really mind. It's all mostly about giving variety to your map by making it look more natural and less of a collection of assets, which of course it is, but it doesn't have to look like it. And in between here, like here, I pretend now it's shadow. Of course, it just makes it look more messy. Like there can be some grass or some old food that they threw in for the horses, and can be basically anything. Just colors will blend if you use the low opacity, and blending colors have their own stories. It can be anything mixed up with anything else. If you have one color, you will have to explain what that color is, and then you say like, yeah, it's the green, it's grass, and then the next question is like, so nobody walks on the grass then. If you have more colors, everything can be an explanation for it. The fort is being lived in this way. And here I had that already. If I have a building, yeah, I think so. And then notice that the firewood is sticking out of the roofs, so going on top of the roof, so we're gonna place them a bit lower so that the firewood's under the roof. Like that. And maybe at the moment that this map was made, there was just someone about to visit this place in their carriage. This one or this one? Let's do the bigger one. And then pulled by, is it a human carries? I have no idea actually. Maybe it's being pulled by oxen. How does it work with you? Do they work like this? I think so. They need some space, right? And then there would be a rope, I think. Let's make it a rope. The color of a rope, I have no idea, but let's say it has this color. Over symbols and a little bit thinner, and there is our rope. I have no idea if this is the way it works, but I mean, they're pulling, so let's say it is. And then something that I said earlier, that I wanted some more vegetation along the road, so I'm gonna do the very small bushes just to indicate like, hey, this is the edge. That close to the camp, and here as well, and that's also this one that goes curve, goes with flow of the road, and there. And I'm gonna do the same for the riverside. Some spots are really, really small bushes. Not bother if shadow for them, but they're really, really small. And that's it. Maybe I'm gonna think of things later on to add to it, but for now it has all that I need. I'm thinking of things, but no, this is really the aim that I had. Maybe I'm just gonna change the water, although, because with that other one had this texture on it that doesn't really feel like a river. So let's do the paper style and give it a bit, I think, better structure. And then we can also still play around with the coastal fix to have the coastline color so that it feels a bit sandy by itself already. Yes. No, not. I'm now in doubt what to do with this. Make a bit white on that side, and oh, that's too much. Then this one gets the sandy color. Oh, that's quite heavy, I would say. Let's not do that. Why did I start doing this? I should have left it alone. It's too dark, too dark. I'm in doubt now. Maybe it's still nicer to have it a bit darker so that it looks like a shadow on the side of the water. And that the one going in the land is then the one that is a little bit lighter. Yeah, I think I like this better, so it looks like a muddy riverbed, and on the inside it still has the darker tone. And now I overdo it again. Okay, sometimes you have to just know when to stop changing things. So this is it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you have suggestions for a next video, put them in the comments and maybe I will do them next time.